Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of the Prime Time Newscast in the English language on Canal International. I'm called Morinzi. We begin with our top stories. Cameroon's Minister of Transport today lifted a ban slams on touristic travel agency. The agency was suspended for 1 month after a fatal road accident that caused the death of 15 persons along the Menganga-Garwabula Road network. We'll give you pain the ambience in those agencies this afternoon when the ban was lifted. As Cameroon prepared to celebrate national unity on May 20, we zoom on some elements that are supposed to enhance such integration and living together of the official languages and culture created at least at the heart of the Anglophone crisis. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. The Minister of Transport has lifted the ban slams on a touristic travel agency that was suspended over a month for 1 month after a fatal road accident that caused the death of 15 persons along the Menganga-Garwabula Road network. Workers and administrative officials of the transport company greeted the ministerial decision with such a joy. They were not the also. Let's get their reactions in the following elements.
Actually, we are overwhelmed by the how can I say, for the favor that the Minister of Transport has granted us, because he has really put joy in our hearts for permitting us to reopen after just a few days. All the employees are really grateful for the confidence that he has renewed towards us. The general manager and all the staff were decided to work on the new strategies. We are going to work on we are going to make more conference on that with the employees, with drivers. Anyway, there are so many things we are going to put in place so that all that should not happen, all what happened to us this time around should not repeat itself in future.
And we now focus on preparations ahead of May 20, which is National Day celebration in Cameroon. We zoomed on some elements that are supposed to enhance such integrity or integration and living together of the official languages and culture created at least at the heart of the Anglophone crisis. The National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism was given the task to consolidate such values years after. What has the Commission been able to do? More in the following story.
The National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism is over 6 years, 4 months old in Cameroon. Created in 2017 through a presidential decree as one of the measures to address the Anglophone crisis, the Musonge Commission is still struggling to make its mark in the faces of the Cameroonians. Even with the coming of the Bilingualism Promotion Law in December 2019, laying down the framework for the promotion of the two official languages, English and French, the unit is still powerless to push through the effectiveness of bilingualism both in public and private entities, as the implementation law is still awaited. That is why it is still common to read or listen to official documents, even from some top government officials and institutions, in one language and the other completely ignored. This in total violation of such law. Talking to some of the members of the Commission this May 15, off camera, as the nation prepares to celebrate national unity, they insist that the Commission is putting in enormous efforts to create the impact expected by the country in ensuring the respect and projection of the official languages and the diverse cultures. a goal to be achieved progressively through sensitization and education of the citizens. And Cameroonians have often questioned why the Commission chooses to remain mute on abominable outings of some individuals preaching hate speech and tribalistic values that negatively affect the strives for national integration. Looking at the agenda of the Bilingualism and Multiculturalism Commission for 2023, the 15-man team is embarking on the evaluation of progress made on bilingualism in deconcentrated services, public hospitals, training institutions, the judicial sector and universities, as well as intensifying the gospel of living together and finalizing the drawing up of a draft bill on multiculturalism and its implementation instruments.
Though one social council since its existence in 1996, it is not well perceived by the general public, while the quest or the thirst for more has made many to think it is in some kind of coma that is somehow dormant, a reason why, the simple reason for being the output is not destined for the general public. Beatrice Ngamo has been talking with some experts. Her story.
The Economic and Social Council of Cameroon is one of the key institutions that drives the country's economic and social policies. Her place after the Senate and National Assembly, previewed by the Constitution since 1960, renewed in the 1972 Constitution and that of 1986. This consultative assembly is seized by the President of the Republic for request or advice. So too the other structures or personalities in need of their competencies.
Il a été consulté lors du Grand Dialogue National.
Consulted during the major national dialogue, decentralization process, on the national economic, financial and monetary situation. The Economic and Social Council is very involved in all happenings, offering our expertise where needed, but in all this, the Council is evolving.
Cette infrastructure.
Maybe it is the way she's functioning discreetly in the background, shadow role, that many are thirsty for more. To know about this important structure in the country existing for over 50 years, especially as an output is not destined to the general public, but to those who seek the advice of the council.
C'est peut-être pour ça aussi que le Conseil n'est pas.
Maybe it is because of it that the council is not very perceptible by the public, but it is an institution that is active and carries its activities since creation. Ayang Lok has been the president since 1984. The institution is now in possession of a headquarters worthy of its name, to enable her portray a new face and why not new image to the public, though still to be inaugurated. Last April 24, 2023, a presidential decree prescribed the breakdown by categories of the 150 members of the Economic and Social Council, and this will be followed by a statutory session in line with the July 2017 law, ordinary and extraordinary sessions, moves to give the Economic and Social Council a new impetus.
And today, May 15 is being observed as the International Day of the Family, with the importance or with the intention to raise awareness on the importance of families. National and international organizations have raised fears that if government does not step in to rebuild reforms that could reshape futures of families, then we might have more breakups. More in the following story.
The family is the basic unit of every society. The health of every society is reflected by the health of family life in that society. And without healthy families, the future of a nation is not guaranteed.
The definition of the family to go by these people is quite broad from an African perspective. From research, many families in Cameroon are almost at the verge of extinction. There are many reasons advanced by researchers. This includes, among others, abuse, femicide, homicide, infanticide, lack of proper parenting and education, communication lapses, divorce, suicide, and a lot more. These problems continue to fragilize or break down families.
Most families are fighting economically, and most women are running away from their husbands under the guise of no finance, he is not financially viable. Most families are breaking apart because some men are saying that, well, I cannot keep a woman who is not able to bring in anything to the table.
People are supposed to sacrifice their ego, sacrifice resources, sacrifice the time, and sacrifice all the necessary resources that are needed to build a healthy family. This has to be done with a lot of intentionality. Why? Because we need healthy families.
Taking into account the present socio-economic challenges of the country, family counselors and organizations attest it's difficult for many families to survive. Many families are gripped with poverty. Feeding is a nightmare to many. Lack of parenting and education is also a reason of growing hate speech in Cameroon.
The financial aspect of a family is a very important aspect that needs to be analyzed properly, and then definitions brought out to show how finances will be handled within the family.
The government is supposed to stand up and be up to its task. The church is supposed to do its own homework, and all the other facets of society are supposed to work tooth and nail to make sure that the family regains the health and sanity that God intended it to have.
As the world observes the family on May 15, many organizations are clamoring for legal reforms to reshape the future of families. And to limit the time and cost in commercial justice procedure in Cameroon, the Court of Arbitration and Mediation of the Cameroon Chamber of Commerce have begun promoting out-of-court settlements and trade disputes. These to improve the business climate, competitiveness, and support public-private dialogue, especially as Cameroon has been ranked 45 on 54 countries in terms of respect for the rule of law, and at the bottom, in terms of judicial impartiality, lawyers in Cameroon have therefore begun a 3-day training to upgrade skills in trade disputes resolution to reverse the trend. More on the story with our reporter Gladys Ambo-Diba.
800 days, that is about 3.7 years, is the approximate time frame to resolve a commercial dispute in a court in Cameroon. Such a legal process is usually costly, with conflicting parties spending about 46.6% of the debt. To render the process less costly and less time-consuming, arbitration and mediation is now the best option in resolving trade disputes.
First, the very huge delays that are characterized in the mainstream, which is going to court. Matters are in court for a very, very long time. Albeit equally, a lot of corruption has been noticed, a lack of expertise, because with arbitration mediation, there's a lot of expertise in it.
To improve the business environment, the Court of Arbitration and Mediation of the Cameroon Chamber of Commerce has tailored the relevant procedures to promote rapid and efficient out-of-court settlement of disputes.
What is very, very gainful with arbitration and mediation is that most often the parties do not even need to be there. With arbitration and mediation, it permits that you go on with your business while the arbitrators are sorting out the litigation. So whatever decision comes out, they accept it. So it permits a healthier economic environment.
What we want to bring to the mind of the entire public is that two people in a dispute are not enemies.
Some lawyers are meeting in Douala to upgrade their skills on the latest mechanisms to amicably resolve commercial disputes.
The whole world has cried that in Cameroon, trade disputes are handled by people who are not trained for those specific issues. And today we are happy that we want to start training Cameroonians in that aspect.
Through the Courts of Arbitration and Mediation of the Cameroon Chamber of Commerce, investors could be sure of protection and fair treatment and justice in the event of disputes in accordance with national, regional, and international legal instruments.
Thank you so much, Gladys Ambo-Diba, and that was how we saw in this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. But coming up next is The Brief with Mark Shwamu. As for me, I'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.